This is a soft ledger tutorial on how to customize sales invoices and email sales invoices direct to customers from soft ledger. Customizing a sales invoice in soft ledger can be completed in a few simple steps. Let's take a worked example to demonstrate this. A company called Abacus Global has started to use soft ledger. The accounts receivable team have begun inputting customer details into soft ledger already. However, they now wish to create a standard and customized sales invoice template which can be used consistently moving ahead. To get started with creating a customized sales invoice template, we move over to the left hand side of the screen and then we go down and select admin, and then under admin we select templates, and this brings us through to the next screen here where we can see the different document types in their default setup. So we'd like to set up a new sales invoice template, so we just select new and then we type in the name of that template as we'd like it to be. So we're just going to call it standard, and then the type of document is invoice for sales invoice, and then we're brought through to this screen here which shows the default setup for a sales invoice. So the yellow boxes allow us to remove fields, whereas the darker boxes with the plus sign allow us to add them in, and then the drop downs we can alternate what actually appears in the fields. So in the case of Abacus Global, they'd like to see the contact email address, due date of the invoice, and the customer reference on each invoice. So we're just going to add that in now. So the contact email address, we just come over to here and select from the drop down. We go to customer contact email, great, just put that in, and then over to the right hand side we hit the plus sign to add in due date. So this is the field name, due date, and then the value of the field will just come down, select due date, and then customer reference, and then we just select reference. And then just before we submit this template, if we just note on the top left hand side we've got logo and contact details here. So that's for the logo for Abacus Global. So we don't actually add that in on this screen, it's through the financial menu, which we'll just show you now. So if we just hit submit, and then let's just refresh the screen to see that template being set up. Great, so we can see standard here is the name of the template, and then the type is invoice for sales invoice. So if we just go over now to the financial menu on the left hand side, we can put in the logo. So under locations, we can see the different entities set up in soft ledger. So obviously soft ledger is a multi-entity platform. We need Abacus Global because that's the company we're setting up an invoice template for. So if we just come over to the right hand side, select the three dots, select the edit, and then we just select choose file, and then we'll just select the logo we'd like, which is here. Let's just scroll down, and then we just hit upload to upload that. Great, and we can see actually the contact details are already entered in for Abacus Global, so they should appear on the invoice. So we just now submit. So let's now move on to raising a sales invoice to see how this all looks on an invoice. So if we just go over to the left hand side again, just select accounts receivable, invoices, and then just select new for a new sales invoice. So the customer we're going to raise this to is a US customer. Let's just put that there. Now the template, we'd obviously like to use standard, which is the one we've just set up. So we just start typing that in, and there it appears. Let's just select that. Invoice date is set, due date is set to the 30 days, great. Reference is a field we obviously defined earlier in the templates. Let's just fill that out. Let's just put in 100A. Description, let's just say products. Cost center we can leave. Products, let's just say product X. And then amount, let's just put $1,000. And then we'll just submit that. Great, okay, so we can see now that we've got invoice number 19 being created. So if we just go into that, and then on the top left we just see the PDF icon which we can select to see the invoice, and then let's just download that so we can see it clearly. Great, so we can see the logo's been brought in, the customer email address has been brought in that we defined, the due date on the invoice and the customer reference. So this invoice is now customized to how we'd like it to be. Just before we move off this, let's just look at one other thing. If we go back to the admin section and then under templates, if we go to template format, this actually allows us to vary the aesthetics of the invoice, if you like. So I'll just show you what I mean. So if we just select invoice for sales invoice, and then we can just select document to preview. So we'll use invoice number 19, which we just raised as an example. We can see that actually we can basically change the font size. We can change the padding on the right hand side of the screen. So it's very much to do with the fine tuning of the aesthetics as you'd like them to be. Really useful feature to know about. So look, now we've raised the invoice using the template we set up, we can move on to issuing the invoice through the SoftLedger email functionality. To send sales invoices directly using SoftLedger's email facility, we first of all need to ensure that the facility is enabled. So we go down to the settings menu on the left hand side of the screen. So select settings, go down to email, and we can see here that send email on, invoice issued is toggled to on, so we can actually send sales invoices straight from the system. So there's the other document types as well are also enabled. So in terms of the actual format of the email, we can also amend that. So if we just go over to type, select invoice for sales invoice, and we can see here that it's got a template email to send with the invoice attachment. So we'll just make a quick amendment here. So, hi, thanks for your business. Please see the attached invoice for some of your current charges. If you have any questions, please contact us. Let's just make that a bit shorter. Many thanks. Okay, let's just save that. Okay, so if we just go over now to the accounts receivable menu on the left, and we'll just select customers. So we can see here US customer, their email address has been entered into the system. So ctest@gmail.com, so that's where the email would go to. So if we just go now back to invoices, so we can see here invoice 19 is the invoice that we raised to the US customer. So if we just tick the box on the left, and if we just then select issue, confirm, it just takes a moment. Okay, great, so that's now complete. We can see the status has changed to issue. So now if we just come into our Gmail account, so this is the US customer's Gmail account. We just open that up, and we can see here, if you have any questions, please contact us. So it's amended the format of the email to what we'd like it to be. And we just open up the invoice, and great, it's attached the invoice. It's got the correct settings per the template we set up in the previous session. So everything's great. If you have any queries regarding today's tutorial, then please contact us on support@softledger.com.